Hello, I'm Reed Holson. Thank you for watching Ask the Mayor, our conversation with Mayor Mike Huther of the City of Sioux Falls. You can get in touch with us at siouxfalls.org. Click on the Mayor's office and send your questions or comments on this show or anything that's happening in the city to Mayor Mike Huther at siouxfalls.org on the Mayor's office. Well, on December 2nd, we had a somber afternoon and morning in downtown Sioux Falls when the Copper Lounge building collapsed in the city. It's been quite a while since we've had an event like that. So we'll start off the show, Mayor, talking about that unfortunate situation that happened, loss of life. We lost one person, a construction worker, and a survivor, obviously pulled from the wreckage as well, too. That was quite a day on Friday, December 2nd.
We, since I've been blessed to be your mayor, we've had 7 emergencies where we've, brought out the emergency response team and set up the incident command center. This one, though, was certainly different because we did lose a life. And, we were certainly very, very thankful that Emily got out of there alive, but, Ethan passed away from this tragedy, and his family and all of us were impacted. These emergencies, we learn something every time that they happen. We get better. We protect better. We react better. We communicate better. And but again, whenever you lose a life like we did in this case with Ethan, it's just different. But I do think Sioux Falls and anybody visiting our town, you have to understand, we really do take public safety to a new level here, whether it be proactively or reactively. And I'm just so proud of the team. And I think what's intriguing is that, you normally think of first responders, and in this case, they certainly did respond, whether it be, Metro 911 and all the calls that they took to the police team and certainly the firefighters. But this one, of course, there was so much more with public works and public health, and even our parking team, because of the adjacent parking lot, and the communication team, and so much more. The City of Sioux Falls and your city employees, they really do jump in when there's an emergency like this.
It's really quite remarkable, the training that our fire and our police department has, especially Sioux Falls Fire Rescue with that urban search and rescue training that they take. And everybody's hearts, not only with the people that were trapped inside, but with our personnel highly trained, methodically going through the wreckage.
We've talked about that on this program, Reed, in terms of as you're trying to prioritize resources, what's the most important, mayor and city council. And the one thing that we've always put very, very high on the priority list was to making sure that our police and our fire team, that they've got the highest level of training, the most up-to-date resources and equipment, as well as that we have adequate, women and men that are involved in those roles. But even I learned some things. Our training, when it involves these things like a building collapse or being impacted by a tornado, we've got some of the highest trained, not only management or leadership team on the fire team, but those men and women that are right there in the fight. They're just unbelievably trained as well, and as proven, it's all worth it. As Emily's family can attest, it's certainly all worth it, and you just never know, Reed. Again, this is my 7th emergency, and started with that major sanitary sewage pipe that collapsed by the prison, where we had about 25,000 homes at risk, with potentially the biggest health disaster in our community. The 1,000-year rain events, to the flooding events, to the downtown power explosion, that ice storm, that we spent so much time and effort on, and now, of course, this tragic event with the building collapse. But you never know what's going to happen. But Sioux Falls, be assured that when it does happen, and something else is going to happen at some point, we will be ready.
What's next now, as you look at that block and kind of the structural integrity, everything there? I mean, we've got such talented people from the engineering department, public works, police, and fire, all looking at the safety of that block. What's some of the next steps we're looking at?
Well, and first and foremost, you said it, Reed. The safety is first and foremost. We need to make sure that area, is safe, whether it be downtown or any other part of town. But yeah, specifically that area, we've got to focus on the safety, and we have been and will continue to be. Then, of course, at some point in time, we've got to kind of get back to some sense of normality, and that's not to diminish, the pain and the hurt that Ethan's family and Emily's family is going through. But at some point in time, we do have to get back to some sense of normalcy, if that's possible. And that includes working near that area, playing near that area, and yes, living near that area. And so that'll happen. And then, of course, again, not to minimize the tragedy that occurred, but yes, at some point in time, we have to realize that is a downtown that's become very, very vibrant. And this is going to impact it in a big way, and especially during that holiday season when people are going downtown more to shop and to play. We want to make sure we can get back to that in a reasonable amount of time too.
Just one final comment. The way the community came together, there were people bringing food. We had construction companies offering cranes. Talk about the response of this community.
It was immediate, and it was all in, and I would expect nothing less. Reed, you're a South Dakota boy, I'm a South Dakota boy. We know this area. We know what happens in the olden days when the barn burned down, all the farmers, all the ranchers, all the small town, they got together and they helped, take care of the family with the burning barn, and then they rebuilt another one. That same thing happens here. I mean, we're not rebuilding a barn, but we are coming together as a community. And yeah, there were the first responders, there was the city employees, but then you had all these other communities rallying around Sioux Falls, such as we brought in a dog from Rapid City that was trained at the highest level to search. And then, yes, the private community as well, whether it be providing donuts or coffee, or yes, these monster cranes. They had a crane here from a private contractor here almost before the dust had settled, the smoke had cleared. And that was used in a very, very effective way to help and not only save Emily, but to find Ethan.
All right, Mayor, thank you. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on Ask the Mayor.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jensen with Falls Community Health. South Dakota winter has come again, and that means a lot of people will get colds. A cold is an infection of your upper airways that can cause a runny nose, sneezing, and maybe a little sore throat. It's caused by a virus, and unfortunately, antibiotics don't do any good against viruses. The best thing for a cold is to get plenty of rest and take some over-the-counter decongestant medicine.
We're back with Mayor Mike Huther on this month's Ask the Mayor. Well, some good news from Wallet Hub, which is quite an organization for personal financial planning, with another kudo for the City of Sioux Falls.
Well, and they're all big, and they're all enjoyable when we hear about them. But in this particular case, they named us the 9th best run city in America. And Reed, we got to get to number 1 soon, and we're working on it. But to be in the top 10 of America in terms of how you're running your city is important, and it is something that I'm really thrilled about, because I wanted to try to bring business acumen to government. They were doing it before I got here. They're doing it now that I'm here, and we've got someone recognizing it in terms of taking these valuable taxpayer dollars, getting the biggest bang for our taxpayer buck, doing it efficiently, doing it productively, doing it in a service-friendly way. It's just wonderful. And then to throw on, they also said, hey, we're a great place to raise a family too. I think it was the sixth best in America.
Mm-hmm. For families,
For families.
For families living, yeah.
So we're, hey, Sioux Falls, we're spending your money wisely. We're running government very efficiently, productively, and it's a pretty good place to live too. And just thrilled by that.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, some of the things you see in national media, so many cities and states that kick the can down the road and kick those problems down the road. I think Wallet Hub really talked about that stewardship and doing things right and paying attention to things.
I think that's one thing we are unbelievably prudent here. We still remember the recession or the depression from the 30s. It's how our grandmas and grandpas and moms and dads they infuse that in us. We're very conservative here. We're very prudent here. We don't like kicking anything down the road, especially if it involves our finances. And so yeah, we've done that well. We've got, for example, we've got a reserve of over 25% of our operating expenses. We can run this city without another dollar coming in here for 3 months. And name another city in America where you could do that. We run it well here. We'll run it well long after I'm gone. And that's just the way we take care of business here and run government, and I'm glad that Wallet Hub acknowledged it.
An example of that is your planning for 2017. Sales tax revenues have been down.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the budget and doing some preemptive reductions in the budget.
I mean, Sioux Falls, let's talk about that openly and honestly, and we're not going to put our head in the sand. We started this back in about March or April of this year. Tracy Turbeck came out and said, the numbers are not looking as good as we had hoped. Again, growing our sales tax revenue base, but not at the pace that we had thought. And so because of that, we had a choice. We could, wave some pixie dust and click our heels and hope that it would all work out well. Or, like we talked about, be very, very proactive and start to cut back on some of those projected expenses in 16. And that's exactly what we did. All 12 departments, they worked with our finance team, and we began to cut back spending all the way back in April of this year. Now it's December, and we will live within our means here in the city of Sioux Falls and not utilize those emergency funds for a rainy day. But Sioux Falls, we can't stop there. We can't stop in December of 16. We're going to do the same thing in 17 right away. We're going to start to cut back or at least control that spending so that, until those numbers get them where we want to be, we are ahead of the game, ahead of the cost saving game, ahead of the expense reduction game. That's what we're doing in Sioux Falls, and we'll start that right away, January 1 of 2017.
You think strategically about snow removal too, to plow or not to plow? That's the question.
Well, and you get in trouble regardless of what you do. Reed, I've been the mayor for 7 years, and we've talked about it. People want fast, safe, smooth roads during the summer. They want that same thing in the wintertime. But Sioux Falls, whenever you're in the snow removal game, you are going to get scrutiny regardless of what you do. Mark and I and Galen, we've been scrutinized when we've shoveled snow and removed ice. And then a couple of days later, Mother Nature came out and melted it all. And people would say, why did you waste our valuable taxpayer dollars on that, Mayor, when you knew that the sun was going to come out and all that snow would go away? And then like in this particular snowstorm that we just had, the first one of the year, all the forecasters said you're going to have four straight days of nothing but sun and great stuff. And so we were a little more cautious in our approach, and guess what, Reed? Didn't happen.
It stayed cold.
It was cloudy.
Yep.
It was cold, and we had more wind and snow in certain parts of town than we were used to. So we did keep people safe, but it was one of those where we did take some scrutiny. And I understand it, Sioux Falls. I get it. But if I can just ask you a favor, Sioux Falls, and that is, if you do live in a part of town that was impacted by a snowfall differently, maybe you did get more snowfall than the rest of the town. Maybe you do live in an area where the wind was creating even more gusty or drifty conditions. Or yes, maybe they even missed your street as they were plowing the city. Pick up the phone, let us know, and we'll come out there and we'll do a more targeted approach to your area. And that's what we did in this last snowstorm, and we do that all the time, and would be happy to do it for you.
More than a few months into the Midco Aquatic Center, how are you feeling about attendance and how things are running so far?
Well, Don and Alicia and David on the parks team, they're very, very happy. They like the volumes that are coming in. They're learning how to use all of those new contraptions that we have that are taking care of 1 million gallons of water. Yep, Sioux Falls is going to repeat that. 1 million gallons of water. So they're learning how to do all that. But I personally, I'm a little surprised. I actually thought there would be even more people attending. Now, the weather has been good. I get that. There's still plenty. I drove by the skate park last night, and we still have the skate park open because you could actually skate. Mm-hmm. People are playing frisbee golf yet in December, and they're even golfing and doing things like that. So I get it. Mother Nature's certainly playing a role. But once we get those blizzardy, windy, snowy conditions on a more consistent basis, my gut says it's going to be one packed place. And I just can't wait.
We probably have to learn how to use it because we've never had anything like this before.
No.
I mean, it's changing people's habits.
No, and it kind of goes back to, Reed, there was a couple of reports out there, and I get it now. I've been doing this a while. But there was a report out there that Sioux Falls is not going to hold swim meets at the new Midco Aquatics facility. Are you kidding me? We've got one of the most incredible 50-meter pools, one of the greatest grandstand spectator viewing spots in the country, and of course we were going to use it for swim meets. It was part of the debate. It was part of the due diligence. It was part of the discussion that we had with the public when we were even talking about potentially building it or funding it. But yes, there were a couple of folks out there who wanted to kind of stir up the pot a bit, and they did. But remember what we talked about, Reed, and I know we talked about it on Ask the Mayor. We said that if we do build this, our primary focus was going to be on the public as a whole, making sure that the public had as much access to it as they possibly can, not knowing, how they would respond, as well as we've never done this before. We've never managed 1 million gallons of water at one time. There's some of these machines we've never worked on before. We didn't know what the public was going to use more than the rest. Would they use the therapy pool? Would they use the diving boards? Would they use the 50-meter pool? Would they even use the birthday zones or whatever it would be? And so that's why we delayed making those announcements. We've now made them. We're going to have four very, very good swim meets here in that first quarter of 17, and we'll make the most of it. Because remember too, one of the things that's important to remember is that we are going to subsidize this facility. We are. It's not going to be like the Denny Sanford Premier Center where we're operating it in the black. Sioux Falls, we will operate this one in the red. But there are some things that we can do to still pay some great economic development dividends, and that includes things like holding a swim meet or two. Because these people are going to be coming in from all over this area, and when they do, not only are they swimming, but they're also spending money. And that helps us pay for things like the pool, like our fire team, like our roads, like our libraries, whatever it would be. So, yeah, it's kind of a long-winded answer, but Rita, it was kind of one of those things where I can't believe I'm even talking about that particular topic. Are you going to hold swim meets in Sioux Falls? But we are. We are. And that happens occasionally. I don't like it, but it happens. And so programs like Ask the Mayor and so many others help us get the real world word out there in terms of what's really going on, and that's why I hope people value this program, and I'm going to encourage you to just keep watching, because you never know what you're going to learn on this program and more.
New chamber executive officer is coming in.
Yeah.
Evan Nolte's been here for 37 years, and from Hutchinson, Kansas, will come Jason Ball.
Excited about Jason joining the team. He'll bring a fresh perspective, some new ideas to take our chamber to a new level. But let's not minimize what Mr. Evan Nolte left in his wake, because it's very, very positive. 30 plus years of service, of sacrifice. He and Leslie making a difference in our community. But I know the chamber will just continue this rock solid impact that they have on our community and so much more. But change is good every now and then, and including a new mayor someday is coming too. And I know that new mayor will do a good job too. And again, our goal, whether it be Evan Nolte or whether it be Mike Huther or even you someday, Reed, when you leave city service, you want to leave things better than the way that you found them. I'm trying to do that. Evan definitely did it, and Reed Holson, you are doing the same thing as well. Great job.
I appreciate that. Human relations is a big area for the city. Very active. As our community grows, diversity is big. Colleen Moran does a good job. So what would you say to people that are concerned about harassment, discrimination, possible bullying going on in the city? Where can they get help?
Well, first of all, don't tolerate it. Under any way, shape, or form, don't tolerate it. And if it's occurring to you, or if you know it's occurring to somebody else, whether it be at work, or trying to find a place to live, or in a bar or restaurant or retail environment, where if you feel you're being discriminated against, or if there's some prejudice or something going on, you don't have to tackle that alone. The City of Sioux Falls is there. We've got resources that can help you address it, or at least investigate it. And if we have to hold people accountable, we'll do that. But it's a really hot topic now, not only in Sioux Falls and in South Dakota, but across the country. And so it is important that we talk about it, Reed, so thanks for bringing it up. But you are not alone. You're not. And so let us know. Colleen Moran and her team can help, and so can so many others.
Right, and if you're in City Hall, it's just right on the first floor. It's very easy to find.
It is. You've got the mayor's office on one end of City Hall on the first floor, and then you've got Colleen Moran and her team on the other end. But again, we're here to help. And it doesn't even have to be, it could be your police team can help you, and there's so many others in city and in county government that can help you. Because I think that there's one thing about this area is that we do care about you. We do. Regardless of your race, regardless of your color, regardless of your religion, regardless of whatever it would be, your physical makeup, whatever it would be. This is a town, this is a city, this is an area where we actually do care about people at a high level. We want to protect you, we want to serve you, we want to work with you, we want to live with you. Now, I'm also not an idiot. I'm a realist. There's some folks who maybe don't want to do that. And if that's happening to you, let us know. Because we're not going to tolerate it. And you shouldn't either.
City's done a good job of decking the halls. Winter Wonderland's on. Streets are all trimmed. Things are looking nice for the holiday season.
Including City Hall.
Right.
It is. It's a wonderful time of the year. We give thanks. We're with family. We have visitors that come visit us from all over the world, and our city looks beautiful right now. It certainly is festive, and what I encourage you to do when you have those visitors coming into town, come down to the Parade of Lights there at our beautiful namesake, the Falls. It's one of those great things that happened way before I became the mayor. And we're just continuing it now in a bigger and grander way. Yep, we've ordered more lights, Reed.
I was going to ask
yes,
that. Yeah, is it bigger and better than last year? Yep.
More than we've ever had, and it's absolutely beautiful. And with this weather that we've had, really there's no excuse not to do it. Now, I shouldn't say this, but maybe an inch or two of snow would make it look even better. But I'm not in control of that. You're not in control of that, and we'll take it as it comes, including that next storm, which we know is bound to happen.
Yeah, it's just bound to happen, and it's going to get colder too.
Yes, it will. But my gosh, it's been a wonderful year, and that's one of the things too, that when you do have weather like this, you are able to save money in some big ways, such as snow removal. But at the same time, it also impacts you from a retail perspective. You can get a lot more people maybe shopping in your town, but then you don't sell as many snow blowers. You don't sell as many shovels. So there's some good and there's some bad with it. But as for me personally, I like it.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
You bet, Reed. Thank you.
We appreciate it. And as the mayor said, if you have any concerns about harassment or discrimination or disparate treatment in the city of Sioux Falls, contact the Human Relations Office. Kaleem Naran and her crew will be happy to sit down and talk with you. You can look on our website at siouxfalls.org and click on the city attorney's office for that. And if you want to be in the know on snow removal, we can send alerts right to your phone. So there's absolutely no question of when we're in a snow alert or when you should worry about your car being ticketed or towed or cleaning your sidewalk. Just text the word SNOW, that's SNOW. I know we all hate to spell it and write it down, but text it to 605-413-1990, and you see that number at the bottom of the screen. Also, lots of other great ways to keep in touch with the city of Sioux Falls, too. We want to make it easy for you to know what's going on. We appreciate you watching Ask the Mayor with Mayor Mike Huther. We'll see you next time.